just started that as we speak. You'll be emailed a copy at the end of the session, so you'll have access to it should you want to share it with your practice. We will be taking questions throughout. The best way to ask a question is in the top little part of your Zoom module, sorry, just down the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little Q&A button. That will give you the ability to ask any questions you may have. We'll answer them at a couple of points throughout the session. So hopefully, if you've got any questions, pop them in there. We'll get back to them as soon as possible. We'll aim to answer them live unless it's something quick, in which case I might type a response. Other than that, in terms of other general housekeeping, if you have anything that generally you want to say, feel free to pop it into the chat. But if not, we should be running through pretty smoothly. So again, just as a little bit of introduction, my name is Molly. If you haven't already encountered me, I am the marketing manager here at SuiteFiles. I get to work on a lot of really great things, including the integration that we have built with the ATO SmartDocs app. Ron is joining us today from ATO SmartDocs. He is their CEO. He works, it's part of a company called iPractice Apps, who developed a whole bunch of really great apps for your practice. In terms of what to expect from today's session, we'll be going through introductions, which we've just done, the latest ATO announcements and changes, what these mean for your firm, how the integration between ATO SmartDocs and SuiteFiles works, and then we'll be taking any questions at the end. I will now hand over to Ron. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. Yeah, and who will kick us off with what's been happening with the ATO. Ron, are you all good to take it away?
I certainly am. Can you see my screen, Molly, just to make sure it's all working?
I can see your screen. Look at us, we're all over the technology.
Yeah, that's good. That's what we like. Well, sitting here in my home office in Hurstbridge in Melbourne, so isn't the technology fantastic? Thanks for the introduction, Molly. Got a heap to cover today. When I ever start my presentations, if anyone's been to any of my presentations at any of the the road shows or ABE, Account Tech Live, I get really carried away when I start talking about technology and talk really fast. So I've been in therapy for about the last 10 years to try and calm myself down. So I normally hand out a little red ball for someone in the audience to throw at me to alert me that I'm talking too fast and getting too excited about technology. It's a little bit hard to do today. So I've got the red ball sitting on my desk. So I'll throw it at myself if I get too carried away. So guys, got heaps to go through. Really excited with the integration between ATO SmartDocs and SuiteFiles, the leading SuiteFiles being one of the leading document management systems in the cloud and widely used. Absolutely seamless integration. I'll show you how that works. But just a bit of an introduction. Yes, I've been around the industry about 30 years, and we're going through the biggest change I've ever seen. Just over 30 years now. I go back to Solution 6 days. Worked at Solution 6, became general manager there, left there, set up my own business about 18 years ago called ATO Paperbuster, which was an on-premise system for processing ATO documents. Yes, you probably think, Ron, is life more exciting than just dealing with ATO documents? I've been doing it a long time. And about 6 years ago, CCH came along and bought that business, and I had a chance to reinvent, with my old team members joining me, the way that the modern way for processing ATO documents. And that's where ATO SmartDocs started. So very unique to be able to build a new product from the ground up, taking into account all the changes coming from the ATO. So heaps to get through. So let's get started. So from an agenda, let's run through. I've just was in Parramatta, the ATO's office in Parramatta 3 weeks ago. Just got to the, we had a 2-day conference with the ATO working on the API and getting the lowdown on what's happening with the ATO's correspondence and all the changes. And you've probably seen the preferencing coming in now. I'll explain all of the changes that are coming. We have a fantastic relationship with the ATO. So I'll spend some time taking you through and giving you an update. And boy, is there a lot of changes coming. I call it the ATO storm, biggest change in 30 years. The ATO is changing the way they work with you. So you need to think about how you work with your clients. If the ATO is going paperless, what are you going to do for your own client delivery? You're a client of the ATO, if you like. They look at you as a client, but you've got a whole lot of clients as well. So if the ATO is going paperless, what are you doing about your own delivery to your clients? And we'll cover off on that as well. 4 reasons causing the storm from the ATO. So I'll just run through a bit of a background. MyGov, we're in the middle of the storm at the moment. I won't spend too much time on that. We'll move on to the solution side of it. What are we going to do about it? We'll have a look at how ATO SmartDocs works, and I'll compare it to your current process, and then I'll run it live, show you how it works. I'll process some documents. We'll see them integrate into SuiteFiles, bring the whole thing together so you can see, as a bit of a contrast to how you're doing things now, how you could be doing them. So give you a bit of an idea. So let's have a chat about and then we'll open up for some questions. It might make sense to sort of leave the questions to the end there, but I'll keep a view of what's coming through as well. So key ATO changes. I suppose there's a lot of confusion around some of your documents are arriving in paper format through the mail. Some of them are actually coming to you electronically through the client communication list, or what they call now the client history. So the client history really is the new terminology. They just changed that in the new portal. And clients turn on MyGov and then the paper stops. So there's a lot of confusion around. So the ATO is getting rid of the paper. It costs them a fortune, $1 a stamp for each document they send you, plus printing costs, plus the time it takes to get to you. So what is the one source that you can go to get all of your ATO correspondence and get it in a timely fashion? And that's the client communication history. So on the screen there, you can see sort of on the right-hand side, with client communication history, your MyGov clients are in there. It's a bit hard to see. Hang on, let me sort of zoom in. You've got email, you've got SMS, you've got paper, and you've got agent digital. So the ATO have introduced the inbox for you, where they'll email you when there's correspondence. So the email is within the agent portal, but you're not getting a full picture of everything. The true picture, the equivalent to what we had, say, 5 years ago when everything came in the mail, is your client history. Now, there's a few documents at the moment that aren't coming through the client history. 95% of them are, and within a month, the ATO will have 100% coverage. So your replacement for the mail is that communication history, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So you need to change your processing, because if your current processing is based on opening the mail, taking the documents out, scanning them, saving them into your SuiteFiles, you need to change that, because the paper's going anyhow. And I suppose with MyGov, the delivery methods changed as well. The ATO is moving very, very fast, so we'll have a look at some of those changes. It's amazing. I do a lot of these presentations. In fact, I was nearly going to apologise for my voice. I think every accounting firm in Australia is, with the lockdown, taking advantage of reviewing their processes or trying to go digital with their processing, because they can't get to the office and check their mail. So they want to do it all electronically. So we've been inundated, which is fantastic. So, but hopefully my voice will hold up. So guys, I always put this picture on the screen. That's you sitting there on the boat. You're about to be overrun by the ATO wave of change, if you like, that they're sending your way, tsunami. If you do nothing, that's what's going to happen. Today's all about being proactive and saying, if we know what changes are coming, well, what are we then going to change within our practice to make sure that we're okay with those changes and turn it into a positive? One of the things I'm going to show you later is how you can actually process all your ATO correspondence electronically in a fraction of the time it's taking you at the moment to do it manually, if that's the way you're doing it at the moment. So we'll have a look at how all that glues together as well. Now, I normally pop a quiz up. It's a bit hard to do on the Zoom meeting, but normally when I'm doing a Zoom meeting just with one firm, I'll ask them, where it's interactive and we can talk, how many different documents do they think the ATO sends them? I haven't had to give away the prize at this stage, because no one's guessed the number, and it is changing all the time. But just for everyone's information, at the moment, so the concept with ATO SmartDocs is to cover every single document that's available from the ATO, and so there's 205 different documents that we've got in the system so far that we cover. So any document that you download from the client communication history, our system knows about. And any documents that the ATO invent overnight as well, we'll know about those and have them loaded for you, ready to go. So it's 100% coverage of all the documents. I'll just whiz through this pretty quickly, because I want to get into the stage where we can actually look at how all of this works. But part of our process to work more closely with the ATO is we had to qualify as an ATO digital service provider, and the ATO has a whole lot of rules and standards about systems we use, data encryption, police checks on us. It was a 6-month process, and they looked at everything to do with our business to make sure that we were secure, we were who we said we were, they wanted to meet us, all of those sorts of things. So we've now achieved the highest possible status with the ATO as a digital service provider. And our reason for doing that is we're working with the ATO directly to on an API so that you won't have to download the documents from the client communication history anymore. We'll be able to get them automatically for you. So I'll talk about that a little bit later as well. Privacy Act, this is catching out a lot of firms. Gee, it was interesting being in the room with the ATO 3 weeks ago. And we talked about how many firms were still using email to deliver ATO correspondence. Even with the redacted tax file number, when you email a notice of assessment, for example, to a client, the packets traveling across the internet are, in some cases, most cases, are open text. Anyone can access those if they know what they're doing, download the notice of assessment. Sure, you've taken the tax file number off, but you can still identify the client's name and what their income is, and that's a breach of the Privacy Act, 22nd of Feb 2018. So no more emails, the edict from the ATO. Well, it's great to hear it directly from the ATO. They were flabbergasted that clients were still emailing documents to clients. Well, that was certainly the impression I got as well. But it's not so much compliance with ATO legislation, it's more the Privacy Act as well. So emailing is something that we need to get away from very, very quickly from a risk point of view, from an insurance point of view, whether we're covered if we're emailing things to clients, and I'll cover off on that a little bit later as well. A lot of confusion from the ATO. They're changing, they've got MyGov ID, they've got MyGov. Everyone's getting a MyGov account now and linking it with tax because they want to claim their benefits if they're in an industry that they've been stood down or lost their job. So the usage and number of clients turning on MyGov has gone through the roof. And the problem with everyone turning on MyGov, and you can see that on the slide here, is as a client turns on MyGov, the paper stops for you automatically. And it actually is worse than that. When someone turns on MyGov, they will receive ATO correspondence before you do. So you've got to change your systems to make them more real time. You can't have a 2-week gap. So here's an example. Say my accountant processes my tax return. I have MyGov turned on. They processed and lodged my tax return 7 days ago. Last night I get an email saying there's a new document in MyGov. I log into MyGov. I know not all clients will log in when they get the email, but quite a few will. And there's my notice of assessment sitting there. I've got it before you've got it. So if your process doesn't allow you to grab my notice of assessment and check it and get it to me within 24 hours, the gap between me seeing it and you getting it starts to sort of get a little bit ridiculous for clients looking at it, going, what's going on, especially where they don't agree. So part of ATO SmartDocs is all about making sure you're back in that process and you can cost effectively be checking everything that's going to your clients when they've turned on MyGov. So MyGov's been a real game changer. All right, guys, let's get into how it all works. And I suppose we talked about emails before, and then I pop up a slide saying emails. We allow you to email, but secure email. So it's different to a normal email. But the concept's really simple. When we process ATO documents, we need to check them, and in a lot of cases, we need to get them to our clients. So it's a matter of selecting the right method for the right client. So if you're running Xero, Practice, MYB, APS, what we do is create a field in your practice management system called delivery method, and you simply select the method that's appropriate for each client. So there's no point putting me on the SuiteFiles portal if I don't have internet connection, or there's no point sending me an email if I don't have an email. So in the delivery method, you can tag a client. So when SmartDocs processes a document, it looks at that field. So it's processing my notice of assessment. It says Ron's tagged as letter delivery. What I'll do is I'll create the covering letter ready to print it and send it to Ron. Or Ron's tagged as email. So what it will do is send me an email, and it won't attach the document to the email because we don't want to be in breach of the Privacy Act. It'll have a link that says, if you want to look, Ron, we've received your notice of assessment, we've checked that it's all good. Click here if you want to have a look. When I click on that link, a box pops up. It asks for a PIN number, and that PIN number has been sent to my mobile phone. So if anyone intercepted that email and thought, let's have a look what Ron earns, they can click on the link, but they won't have the PIN number because they won't have my mobile phone. So that's what we call secure email. And it's pretty important that you do review your security, make sure you are compliant. Obviously with SuiteFiles, fantastic portal. So if you've tagged someone as delivery through SuiteFiles, when we import the document into SuiteFiles, you can then jump in and send it out through the portal or put it in the directory that's required for the client. And we do have another option for clients that want to use their mobile devices, via an app. So that's a separate option, but all 4 options are covered. Some firms will just stick to emails and letters. Some will stick to just portal. It's up to you, but we do give you that flexibility. So nice and easy to process your documents. All right, let's get into an example. So let's say we're an accounting firm doing 2,500 tax returns. For every tax return we do, by this SmartDocs is for firms doing from 200 tax returns upwards. But let's say we're doing 2.5. For every tax return we lodge, we get 4 documents from the ATO. We're getting 10,000 documents a year from the ATO. Most firms would argue that's going up and not reducing. We're still going to get those, but we're going to get them electronically from the ATO. We still need to process them. We still need to get copies. We still need to check them, and we still need to tell our clients, more importantly, this is where we add value, that we've checked the documents, and that's what SmartDocs is all about. Works out to about 45 documents a day when you take out holidays and weekends. So it gives you an idea of the actual volume. So guys, top left-hand corner, there's a red box there. Let's run through what most firms are doing at the moment. So they would open their mail, allow 20 minutes to do that. They would then maybe log into the agent portal and look for anyone that's MyGov and download those and process them. Blue box next to the red box, 10 minutes to scan them and save them into SuiteFiles. Purple box there to actually go and check them, create the letters, the emails, check the assessments, make sure they agree. There's another 30 minutes, and then get them out the door, whether it's via email or post, print them, put them in envelopes. So most firms are telling us, 90 minutes to 2 hours, 120 minutes to process the 45 documents. I know that documents don't come in nice and evenly. You have ups and downs during the year, but most firms are sort of telling us an hour and a half to 2 hours to get all of those documents processed and out the door. What we're doing with SmartDocs, bottom left-hand corner, the green box, is we're saying forget the paper. Let's get our documents straight from the agent portal. So let's log into the ATO agent portal, download our 45 documents, drag them into ATO SmartDocs, hit the go button, and 6 minutes later, they're filed into SuiteFiles, renamed, filed against the right client in the right folder. We've got the covering letters, emails created, and our whole lot's all processed. So 6 minutes versus 120 minutes is the difference in technology, and that's putting aside all the benefits of getting the documents directly from the ATO. They're crystal clear. There's no scanning involved. There's no scanning marks on the documents. The benefits are quite significant. So big contrast. Often firms will say to me at this stage, Ron, that sounds too good to be true. So let me take you through it, and then let me run it live so you can see it in action. So this is the life in a typical day in the life of an ATO SmartDocs user. In the morning, no more post office. Not allowed to go to the post office anyhow. I think you are. I don't know if it's one of the 4 things you're allowed to do in Victoria now. Otherwise, you've got to stay home. Go to the office. Yeah, I know it's even stricter in New Zealand. So what we do is we log into the agent portal. This is a copy of the old portal, but just imagine it was the new one. And we download, we search in the last 24 hours, download all of our documents in the search, just tap on each document to download them. They're our paper copies, our MyGov clients are there. We download our 45 documents, and the benefits on the right, 2 to 3 days quicker than waiting for the mail. Why would we wait for the mail? Crystal clear documents, and anyone that's turned on MyGov, which is going to be, if you think about what's happening at the moment, the majority of your clients very quickly, everyone needing a MyGov account rather than lining up at Centrelink. And we download our 45 documents, so a couple of minutes to do that. Once we've downloaded them, we drag them. I'm going to run this live in a minute. We drag them into ATO SmartDocs. There they are, sitting on the left-hand side of the screen there. And all we do once they're dragged in is we start the processing button, which leads to the top right-hand corner where I've got step 1. And the first thing that the system does is it will open the PDF and work out what it is. And it uses artificial intelligence and machine learning. So once it works out of the 205 document types it knows about, which one it is, it will then, in this case, it works out it's a notice of assessment where I'm sort of highlighting in the top right-hand corner. It then knows what to do for that workflow. So this is where the automation comes into the system. It will know how to rename the document. It will know whether to send a copy to the client. It'll check the method of delivery and know whether to create a letter, an email, or tell you to send it out through the SuiteFiles portal. So all of that happens. So step 1, it works out that it's a notice of assessment. Step 2, it reads the tax file number and matches that back to your tax product. And most of you probably been using Xero, but whatever tax product you've got, and it's worked out it belongs to Ron Drost. Step number 3, it renames the document, and you can have any naming convention you want, and it knows then by document type, you know, you tell our system where to file it in SuiteFiles. So for NOAs, we always want it under the client, the year, and then filed in that directory. So it will never misfile something for you. It will never rename something incorrectly. You know, key admin people go on holidays and suddenly things start appearing in different folders. System's 100% compliant. Step 4, because it's an NOA, it reads the estimate out of tax, it reads the assessed amount, it compares the two. If they agree, it will turn green and it will send it to the client. Now, depending on what the method is for delivery, it'll create an email, send it with the secure email with the PIN number. If they're tagged as portal, it'll tell you to send it out through the SuiteFiles portal. And if it's a letter, they will create the letter. So the email can go straight away. If it doesn't agree, so it does the checking for you, it turns orange, and it will then automatically alert. I can only draw stick figures, guys, so that's the extent of my art skills. It'll alert the accountant, the partner, the manager, whoever you've said needs to check it. They'll get an automatic email telling them to go to the workflow. So we've got a little workflow system around this. And if you think about it, we're receiving the documents electronically from the ATO. If we need to send them out to someone in the office for approval, then we need to, we don't have to print them to put them on someone's desk. So there's a mini workflow system behind it to alert the accountant. Again, I'm going to run all that live and you can see it in action. Once we've processed, it's finished processing our 45 documents, we just hit the SuiteFiles button there, and it automatically files not only the existing PDF, the copy of the notice of assessment in this example, but whatever correspondence is generated, the letter or the email, all filed in the right spots in SuiteFile. And we've done in 6 minutes what normally would have taken us an hour and a half to 2 hours. So clients often say to me, where's the fun in all of this? It's about automating our processes so we can run them anywhere. And it's about freeing up admin time to help get our clients on better digital delivery, encourage them to go onto the SuiteFiles portal, encourage them to receive the secure emails. You've got time to do all of those things. So let's run it live. Let me drag across from my other screen, ATO SmartDocs, and let's have a look at it in action. Let's make that full screen. So there's SmartDocs, run through your browser. On my screen down here, I've downloaded from the ATO some documents this morning, and this is my make-believe data, downloaded my documents, so I just drag and drop those into ATO SmartDocs. You see it turns grey on the screen there. We call that the drop zone. Let go of the documents and they're uploaded, ready for processing. So it doesn't matter how many documents you've got in the batch. I'm going to do 5, from 5 to 500. The system can scale for that. So if the ATO is sending you a lot of documents, which is going to happen now with all of these changes they're making for businesses, there's a lot of communication coming from the ATO. So all I do at this stage, they're all uploaded, ready for processing. I've just got to move my mouse to the left-hand side halfway down and click the Select All button, and I click Start Processing. I'll run you through what it's doing, so I'll try and keep up with it as we start the processing. So the green bars come across the top. It's already opened the first documents. It worked out that it belongs in NOA for Bob Minions. Checking whether the amounts agree. If the amounts don't agree, it'll turn orange. White's working on the first one, it's working on the second one, third one at the same time. Just turned orange. An email went to one of the accountants across the other side of the office telling them Bob's NOA's come in, doesn't agree. It's $5,000 instead of $15, and Bob's going to be really upset, so they should work out why. Turns turned green for Santa Claus's SOA's just gone to Santa Claus, depending on whether it's email, letter, or going out through the portal. The system will tell us in a minute there. It's just finished Jessica, just done Dave Minion's NOA. There's an NOA for Jessica Claus. Depending on what method of delivery, if it's email, then the email will go automatically if it agrees if you want it to go. There's an SOA down the bottom for Jessica Claus. It's finishing off now, just checking the amounts, working out the delivery method for Jessica. If the delivery method is via email, it will send it out automatically. All finished. So I did want to be an auctioneer when I was younger, guys. So that's my frustration there. So it's
Ron,
done all our processing.
Someone's just come through with a question saying, red ball.
Yes, yeah, I know. I threw it at myself, but I should turn the camera on so you can see it. So, guys, there's all our documents done. So let me just break down what's happened and explain everything to you. For the first document, it's matched it as an NOA for Jessica Claus. It's agreed. the amount's agreed, and you do plus or minus $10 or $100 if you don't want to be checking documents that are out by a small amount. Look to the right-hand side on Jessica's record there where I'm moving the mouse. She's tagged as email delivery. It's created the email and it's been sent out. If I want to have a look at the email, there's a pair of binoculars there between the orange and red button. I can just click on that and there's the email that went to Jessica. So that's great. You don't have to send the email out automatically. Some firms freak out on that. So hang on, Ron, no one's seen it, but the system is doing the checking for you, and it's 100% accurate because we're getting the documents directly from the ATO. With Jessica's SOA, again, email sent directly to Jessica. You can see Dave Minion down the bottom, paper. So the last record there, Dave Minion. On the right-hand side, that grey box tells us it's read out of practice manager. He's a paper client. He doesn't have an email address. He doesn't have a smartphone. And then when we click on the Word document, there's a copy of the letter that it's created. You can change the wording in the letter. And at this point, I can look at the letter, click print. And then when I run the integration to SuiteFiles, that letter will be saved automatically into the right spot as a Word document, as a record of what we sent out. So if Dave rang up in the afternoon and an accountant wanted to know about what he's talking about, what was in the letter, just jump into SuiteFiles and they've got a copy on the screen straight away. So that's the beauty with the integration that we've got. Now Bob turned orange there. I can see a few more questions popping up, so we'll jump on those in a minute when we get to the end. Bob turned orange because $15 is his refund. So if I just sort of zoom in on that, he's got $15, zero tax calculated, $5,000. I saw Bob last week, and just before the lockdown happened, and he told me that you can't wait to get the money. He's already spent the money on a jet ski, and not much good to him at the moment. But now as the accountant, I'm sitting on the other side of the office. I see an email coming in, say Bob's NOA doesn't agree. Being the internal optimist, I think, oh, hopefully it's gone up and I'll look like the hero. But I click on the email and I go, wow, I better go check that. So as an accountant, I don't come into SmartDocs here, but in the top left-hand corner, second from the left, there's a workflow button. So as an accountant, I want to know why it doesn't agree. So I just click on workflow and I click on the not approved button that you see there. And there's Bob's NOA sitting there waiting for me to work out why it doesn't agree. Now you can send any document for approval. You might have a rule, for example, in your practice that any debt reminders goes straight to workflow and the partner calls the client immediately, or goes to the manager. By document type, you can either file a document and that's all. We just want to keep a copy of that document. We won't bother sending it to our client, or you can send it to your client using their preferred method of delivery, and you can send it off for approval as well. So every firm's different, and the whole system's completely configurable. But in my case, sweat's dripping off my face because I know Bob's NOA doesn't agree and I want to know why. So I just click on the job to open it, scroll to the bottom left-hand corner, and I still want to see the NOA on the screen. One click and there it is, $15. On my second screen, I open up tax and bring up the calculator. It says $5,000. Why is it not correct? I can see what's happened. Bob, we asked Bob to put another $10,000 into super on the 1st of July. Bob's got a bit excited and put it in on the 30th of June. He was already on his $25,000 cap, and the ATO's picked that up and absorbed 47 cents in the dollar. So what I can do now is I know why it doesn't agree. I could ring Bob. Way too scared to ring Bob. He's going to tear shreds and give me a hard time. So what I'm going to do is click update and approve the job to go back to the admin team. And when I do, a box pops up and it's basically saying we've got to explain to Bob. We just send say Bob's a letter client or he's an email delivery. We've got to explain to Bob why it doesn't agree. Otherwise he's going to call us. So Bob, it's your fault. So we can type that. It's his fault. And that's my job done. That'll go in the email or the letter or the piece of correspondence that we've got for Bob, and that's now off my list. So I've now finished approving all of my documents for today. As far as the ATO SmartDocs user goes, so that's my job as an approver, I want to see what documents are going out to my clients. You'll notice when I come back into ATO SmartDocs that the second from the bottom, which is Bob Minion, on the right-hand side there where I'm moving the mouse, is it's now replaced the orange with a blue button with a white star that's spinning. So that's telling me that on the grey boxes next to that, there's some instructions as to why it doesn't agree. And as the accountant or the manager or the partner, depending who you sent it to, every document can go to a different approval process. It's approved to go out. So as an admin person, I would review the wording and I would say, can't say that, let me fix that up, and then click update, and that goes straight out to Bob. So the approval system's there. Going electronic with this 6 minutes and processing everything doesn't mean that people get cut out of the loop at all. You know, we've got the workflow sitting in there. So when I finish doing all my processing for the day, or for this morning, I just click the select all button on the left there. And when I move my mouse to the right, so sort of halfway down in the middle of the screen, there's a nice run import to SuiteFiles button. And this will, if I had 100 documents, 5 documents, 500 documents, I just click on that button and it starts the process to automatically file not just the notice of assessment, but a copy of the letter, a copy of the email, all the correspondence filed as well. So there we go. It's pushing all those documents seamlessly into SuiteFiles for me, much quicker than I could do it manually, miles faster than that. And now it's finished. And you'll notice there's a tick against all of the documents to let us know they've all successfully filed into SuiteFiles. And if I go into SuiteFiles, you can see there for Jessica, if I go into 2018, there are the documents, the NOA, and a copy of the email that went to Jessica. How easy is that? Filing's done, clients getting their preferred method of delivery, and you can see the seamless integration between SuiteFiles and ATO SmartDocs. All right, I told you I'd go a million miles an hour. That's why it's recorded as well. You can play bits of it back if you want later as well, but probably appropriate just to see what sort of questions are coming up. So I'm just going to drag my questions on the side here and just open that up so I can have a look. Yeah, there's a few questions here. So yeah, new documents from the ATO. So what happens if there's new documents? We add them overnight for you. It's our job. We guarantee 100% coverage of every document type from the ATO. So for example, if the ATO introduced a letter to every business to explain how the $1,500 a fortnight works, we'll have that added overnight, ready for you to go. And as you download all of those letters, they will automatically go to your client. So that's the beauty of being cloud-based, and our job is to watch out for any new document types from the ATO, and we'll add them in and keep you updated with what's going on. One of the number one questions I get from firms, or number one statements, I suppose, they say, it's hard to keep up with what the ATO is doing. And because we're dealing with hundreds of firms across Australia, you know, one firm says, oh, there's a new document type, and we'll add that in straight away for you. So our job is to make sure you're kept up to date with what's going on as well, with all the different documents that are out there. It's full cloud-based system. So the other question was, yeah, look, it is. That way we can maintain everything for you. So it's true cloud. We use there's a question there about security. We use the Microsoft Azure platform for hosting ATO SmartDocs, and you saw before that we were accredited from the ATO with the digital service accreditation. So you know, they've looked at all of our technology, our encryption, our two-factor authentication, all that sort of stuff, and okayed all of that. So it's nice to know, peace of mind, that the ATO has looked at all of that as well, and as part of our qualifications. So guys, I didn't want to go over, but I won't go too much over. I just wanted to finish off with a bit of a last slide, just to say, if anyone's interested, I've talked in general terms here, and I haven't had a chance to ask each one of you how you do things now, what systems you use, what your volumes are like. Just one question there. There are a number of clients that have, well, not a number, there's been clients that have actually sort of bailed out of processing a few of their ATO documents and just let them go through to their clients. When they see this technology, it puts them back in control. So I'm finding most firms are saying, with this approach through ATO SmartDocs, we can be across every single document that's going to our clients and not have to worry about all the extra time and effort in processing it and scanning it and saving a copy. This really does automate it. So the message is, with the ATO being all over the place with their delivery, not just to you as tax agents, but to your clients as well, one of the things you can do is take back control. Say to your clients, we will check every document that comes from the ATO, and we'll keep a copy of every document that comes from the ATO. That's part of our service, and a lot of firms are doing that. So on the left-hand side of the screen there, that's where we started, guys, being swamped by the massive wave from the ATO. With ATO SmartDocs, integration with SuiteFiles, that's where we want to get on the left-hand side of the screen, but only once the lockdown is lifted. I don't think sailing's one of the approved activities, guys, so we can't come and do that. If anyone wants to book a session just for your firm, a Zoom meeting, just shoot me an email and let me know some times that suit you, or give me a call. There's more information on our website as well. We're taking the opportunity to upgrade our website. So there's a couple of links on there that aren't working at the moment, but that the main things are all up and running. So just send me an email. I'd love to take you through how it works and find out a little bit more about your practice. So I only threw the red ball at myself once, so that's good, guys. That means my therapist will be really happy. I appreciate everyone having a look today.
Good results.
Yeah, I'll hand back to you, Molly.
Thank you. So we have got a few more questions here to go through.
Sure.
So bear with me if your question didn't immediately come up. I promise we will get to it. The first one, there's a couple that I can answer really easily. So I'm going to do those ones, and I'm going to hand the tricky ones to you, Ron, because why not? In terms of when will this service go live, the service is live currently. So you can use ATO SmartDocs from, as soon as you get it set up. But it is at an additional cost. So it's very tightly integrated with SuiteFiles, but it is technically a separate piece of software. The best way to go about that is to get in touch with Ron, because he can go through the exact costings and then look at what the combined price would be if you're using the two together, and then the time savings, so you can do some ROI considerations on that. And then, sorry, one second, I'm just reading them all as we go. There's been a couple of questions around as well. What's the difference between a firm emailing out the document as normal and this system emailing it in terms of privacy? So the biggest difference is that the email that goes out with this system is locked by a PIN. So with the mobile phone number that we've got recorded for that client, when they receive the email, before they can open the attachment, they'll need to get that PIN number from their mobile. So there's no way that data can be compromised unless someone has miraculously got both access to the email address and also the mobile phone of the person you're sending it to. So it's just more secure. It's essentially, think of it like multi-factor authentication. And because of that, it doesn't breach those ATO rules for compliance. And the rest of them, I'm going to hand over to you, Ron. I'll just read them out one at a time. So sure. Are the letters picked up from our SuiteFiles templates?
You can. We create the letters within ATO SmartDocs, but we can you can put any wording you want into the middle of the document. So yeah, we could certainly load your SuiteFile templates into ATO SmartDocs so that you're getting the same letters that you're getting at the moment. So that's easy to do. And just to be clear, the reason we're working with the ATO to build the API is to get the documents from the ATO at the moment. You download them through the agent portal. So you click on each document and you download them. Once we've got so all of that works now. We've got hundreds of firms using what you saw today. So none of that's new. The big change will be in about 12 months or 18 months when they release the APIs. In SmartDocs, we'll have a button that says Get ATO Mail. Click on that button and instantly on the screen will appear all your ATO correspondence, and we'll manage that. We'll check which ones you've already got, when you last did your download from the ATO. It's just going to make the process even more seamless. So instead of taking 6 minutes, it's now going to take 4 minutes once that's available. But everything you saw today, yeah, sure, you've got to log into the agent portal and there's 45 documents sitting there and you've got to click on each document and it downloads it in your download folder and then you drag it into SmartDocs. But I can guarantee you, if I put 45 envelopes in front of you and said, can you open and drag all these documents out and scan them in, I can do it in 30 seconds, have 45 documents ready to go, and there's no way you'll be able to open even half of the 45 envelopes by the time I've finished processing completely. So it's certainly a much faster process than at the moment. Molly, there's a few other questions, is there?
Yeah, another one I can answer. Does the assessment go out without the TFN on the assessment if by email? No, the tax file number will be there because that email is PIN code protected, so it meets the requirements for the data standards. Can we specify how the attachment is saved, i.e. can we call it 2019 Notice of Assessment Joe Blog? So can they specify the naming conventions for the documents, Ron?
One thing we learned a long time ago, every accounting firm, believe it or not, wants to do it differently. So complete flexibility. You can have, you should see some of the naming conventions some firms are using. Yes, no, we learned day one, we'd make that completely flexible. So absolutely.
Perfect. And then one that I'm pretty sure I've got right, can we integrate it directly with the ATO so we don't have to log into the portal? Not yet, it is coming. The barrier to that is the ATO API, which just at this point doesn't exist and probably is a little while away, just given what's going on in the world. As Ron said, it's probably still another 12 to 18 months. As soon as that exists, then that will be something you'll be able to do. But you're looking at, yeah, probably June, July next year before that's going to be an option.
Yeah, absolutely. Why wait to take your hour and a half to 2 hours worth of processing back to 6 minutes? And yeah, so it would be nice if that was there, but everything you saw today is happily running across the country now, and firms have been using it for quite a while. We've got hundreds of firms using it.
That's, yeah, it's you know what, it makes sense. Sorry, does the system work with the custom filing structure in SuiteFiles, i.e. based on job instead of years? Yes, it will do, Eddie. When we do the setup of ATO SmartDocs, or when ATO SmartDocs do that setup, you will specify where you want those documents to save within your custom filing structure. So all completely customizable, because everyone likes to work a little bit differently. One from Joseph Hughes, which is my firm uses Gmail and we do not save emails into SuiteFiles. Does that have any effect on using ATO SmartDocs? No, it doesn't, because the email is going out using ATO SmartDocs. So again, that email will still go out in protected and sorted that way. Give me 1 second, now that one is answered. And then just a couple more. Is this a SuiteFiles application or is it an add-on from an external developer? So ATO SmartDocs is not part of the SuiteFiles company. It's an integration partner, so it's an add-on. iPractice Apps is a separate business to SuiteFiles. We just really like them. We think it really adds value to the product. This is a really big problem people have to solve, and it's something that we can offer quickly. Basically, this is available now. And it's really comprehensive. Fantastic. There are a couple of other questions just flowing through now, so we will take the time to answer those, probably typing them out. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to send them through. We'll stick around here for a little while. But if not, thank you so much, everyone, for coming along today. Do you have anything else you want to add, Ron?
No, just if anyone wants to have a look, let us know. We'd love to show it to you. But thanks for having a look today. There's a lot changing, and keeping abreast of those changes and thinking about your processes, especially now you might have some extra time, everyone working from home, makes a lot of sense. So yeah, look, I appreciate everyone having a look today, and yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks so much, guys. Please take care of yourselves. It's a bit of a wild world out there. If there's anything SuiteFiles or ATO SmartDocs can do to make it a little bit easier, don't hesitate to get in touch. And yeah, take care of yourselves. I'm just going to stop this recording and go through and type answers to some of the rest of these questions. Thanks so much, guys.